really ties into what you're talking about, and the theme of your show this week is really focused on a very talented registered dental assistant through the military, got her training through the military. Her husband is now 200% disabled.
Oh.
And she came to me and said, I am the only person who can provide for my family. And I want to go to the next level. That next level is a $30,000 program to get her to that registered dental assistant in extended functions category, the highest category of pay that we have for chairside clinicians in dental assisting. And she said, but I can't find anybody to take the yellow ribbon program. And I sat there looking at her like you are with me right now, saying, how can this be?
Yeah.
How can this be? And it has evolved into a conversation now where there are approximately 20 women in her support group alone out of Travis area who learned dental assisting in the military, have this skill. They can go into the workplace. They just don't have the licensure or the right credentials to do it.
So they come to you.
And they came to us and said, can you help us? And we said, we will do everything we possibly can. And so right now we're working on that process. It's a bureaucracy, but we are working through the California CSAAVE, which is the state approving agency for veterans education, and saying, what can we do? We have our nonprofit, we have our for-profit. Tell us what we need to do and what it needs to look like. And now even the Department of Rehabilitation is contacting us for the same reasons, to say there's no really good independent California board approved provider that will take these benefits. And here we are.
Oh, that's
so
good.
We're working on it now.
And I am back with Donna Drury-Klein, the COO of Fade Institute. You're the founder, too, of Fade Institute, aren't you?
Absolutely.
All right. We look forward to hearing your story. I know you have a for-profit side. You've got a nonprofit side. Talk to us about how you got started in this enterprise.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
You bet.
The FADE is the Foundation for Allied Dental Education, and we started as a nonprofit public benefit entity in 2011 as the collaborative supporter of the California Dental Assisting Teachers Association, which I used to run.
Oh, wow.
And as part of that, we were trying to find nonprofit partners to really help and assist with dental assisting, specifically teachers and their students. There are over 500,000 dental assistants just in California alone.
Wow. Okay.
1 in every 7 dentists is in California. So we have a very large dental family in the state. And dental assisting tends to be the redhead stepchild sometimes.
It does?
It really does.
They're
And
so
yet-
nice. The dental
yet
assistants are always so sweet.
I know. And there's 3 of us to every hygienist in a practice. We are the heartbeat of the practice.
Yes.
The dentist can't function without us.
I agree.
And yet sometimes we tend to be the
Sometimes it seems like the dentist doesn't even do much. It's the others that are doing all the work.
I agree with you.
Okay, so what does your business do? So you saw this problem.
Yes, we saw the problem as part of KDAT, the Dental Assisting Teachers Association, and decided that there needed to be a nonprofit helping the nonprofit.
Okay.
And we partnered with KDAT for a number of years. Ultimately, after I retired from KDAT, continued to take the foundation in a different direction. And what we discovered about 2 years ago was a lot of grant funding and a lot of funding to the nonprofits across numerous boards, but particularly with dental-related education, had all dried up. And so we thought, okay, we're in a situation now where we're seeing schools close, vocational education changing dramatically. And suddenly we all heard about the HEALD closures. And I was receiving phone calls from presidents of these schools saying, we have all this dental equipment. We don't know what to do with it. Can you help us?
Why are these schools closing?
Well, a lot of the private sector non-public programs are run oftentimes by corporations that are national based and don't always understand the regulations and the requirements to running hygiene, assisting, and dental schools in California.
Okay.
And I think oftentimes they go into it thinking this is going to be like Georgia or Colorado or Nevada, and they come to California, start these vocational programs, and find out that it's incredibly difficult, it's very heavily regulated, and it's not necessarily as profitable as they thought it was going to be, or it was in other states.
Okay.
And what tends to happen is they get a little too bloated, and ultimately then they can't produce the outcomes. When they are federally funded, they have outcome requirements that they're not meeting, and suddenly you hear the federal government shutting things down.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so let's break this up. I might have to have you really simplify it for me since I'm a C student here. We have the nonprofit side, we have the
Yes.
for-profit side.
Right.
Who are the customers of each one?
Well, the nonprofit side, we do advice and counseling for dental assistants from out of state as well as in California that want to go to the next level.
Okay.
They're looking to go, and I'll use an example, registered nurse to a nurse practitioner. What do I need to do to get to that level? And the foundation would provide advice and counsel free to anyone, particularly out-of-state assistants, that come to California and say, I can't get the right answers, I cannot get the right help. Help me.
Okay.
Once we establish what they need, then we recognized, well, we should be the ones providing what they need.
Okay, providing that actual education.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we had taken a lot of this dental equipment and dental supplies and resources from these closed schools, put them in storage, and ultimately teamed up with a gentleman, Kent Hallmeyer, who used to own Frontier Dental Labs, who buys and sells buildings. And I happened to meet him one day. And I said, now that the dog has caught the ice cream truck, I have all of this dental equipment that I've picked up for literally pennies on the dollar, and they're sitting in storage. I've got these assistants that need help. Something needs to line up here. And he said, I'm looking to buy a building. If you come in, I will do all the TI for you. Build an institute.
Wow.
And 2 years ago, three years ago, last month, we have the Fate Institute.
Okay.
And we do now all of the education and training for everything from entry-level assistants all the way up to that nurse practitioner level.
So I'm an entry-level assistant. Who makes a good entry-level assistant? Like, who should start at that level?
Right out of high school.
Okay.
Right out of high school.
So you could be an 18-year-old.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you look at the Department of Labor statistics nationally for over 30 years, dental assisting has been the top 3 jobs to get. They are always going to be needed like nurses. Nurses, assistants, hygienists, we will always be needed. It is a never-ending job pool. And dentists are constantly saying, why can't I find qualified assistants? Well, the interesting thing that's been happening recently is we're seeing a lot of people coming to the foundation who are former military.
Interesting.
And saying, I've got these benefits, but I can't find any institutions willing to take them.
So do you guys take the GI Bill?
That's what we're working on right now.
Interesting.
Exactly
Okay, so
what we're working
I'm
on.
an entry level person or even a mid-level person. I already have
Yes.
experience in the dental world. I can come get plugged into your organization, to the Fade Institute, and I can grow and advance to the next level.
Precisely.
And that'll obviously help my income and so on.
Precisely. And what really ties into what you're talking about in the theme of your show this week is really focused on a very talented registered dental assistant through the military, got her training through the military. Her husband is now 200% disabled.
Oh.
And she came to me and said, I am the only person who can provide for my family. And I want to go to the next level. That next level is a $30,000 program to get her to that registered dental assistant in extended functions category, the highest category of pay that we have for chairside clinicians in dental assisting. And she said, but I can't find anybody to take the yellow ribbon program. And I sat there looking at her like you are with me right now saying, how can this be?
Yeah.
How can this be? And it has evolved into a conversation now where there are approximately 20 women in her support group alone out of Travis area who learned dental assisting in the military, have this skill. They can go into the workplace. They just don't have the licensure or the right credentials to do it.
So they come to you.
And they came to us and said, can you help us? And we said, we will do everything we possibly can. And so right now we're working on that process. It's a bureaucracy, but we are working through the California CSAAVE, which is the state approving agency for veterans education, and saying, what can we do? We have our nonprofit, we have our for-profit. Tell us what we need to do and what it needs to look like. And now even the Department of Rehabilitation is contacting us for the same reasons, to say there's no really good independent California board approved provider that will take these benefits. And here we are.
Oh, that's
so
good.
we're working on it now.
Well, congratulations. Sounds very ambitious, but obviously there's this huge need here on Veterans Day weekend. I mean, thinking about people like you, you're actually innovating using entrepreneurial mindset to figure out a way to get the system to work correctly.
Correctly. And more importantly, to get the word out there that these benefits are available. I think there is a lot of people who came out of the military who have these incredible skills in medicine and in dentistry and can do so much within those two professions, but they don't necessarily have either the right license or the right credential, but they have the experience.
So you need to get your business known, right? It's only a couple of years old, 3 years old. I mean, what do? You put on your entrepreneurial hat. You've got to get yourself known. What goes through your mind as you think about, like, how do I get the Fade Institute known?
Well, I think for us, it has been having the nonprofit. Because I think the nonprofit brought a lot of people to our door that needed the help that ultimately the Institute provided them. So it was almost now we know what the community needs, and certainly our relationship with Sacramento District Dental Society has been fundamental in this as well, and working with their foundation. So Smiles for Kids and some of these other campaigns that we've been assisting with on the nonprofit side, ultimately they said, but we've got this other piece, and the other piece is there's not really good education, credentialing, retraining, getting them to licensure, getting them to a better place within the dental team where they're making more money. Why aren't you guys doing that too? And that's really where the conversation began. And as I said, the planets sort of lined up. The Institute certainly was not on my bucket list because I've been involved in dentistry since 1979. And I've done a lot of things that so many on the dental assisting or the clinical chair side of dentistry have not done. So I've been very fortunate. And so in starting the nonprofit and then ultimately personally investing in the Institute was really my way of giving back to a profession that's given me amazing opportunities. So when these individuals come to the Institute and they say, I need x-ray and I need kernel polish and I need this just to get an entry-level job, our goal then is to take them and say, but you could be doing so much more. And if you invest in your education, and we'll do whatever we can to help you get there, if you invest in it, it will pay off tenfold. And certainly the community benefits, because there's so many doctors looking for talented clinical help.
Absolutely. What's your vision for the future?
Oh, gosh.
Are you just worried about today right now?
Well, to some degree, yes. I listened to a couple of your other guests who were talking about, you're so heads down in, focusing on your growth and focusing on what you're trying to accomplish to meet, this month, that sometimes you forget bigger picture. My biggest problem has been I tend to be a big picture person. And sometimes those around me that are a little more risk adverse have to hold back on some of that. I think our only problem, to be really honest with you, is space. We cannot get enough space. I am in a building that I know anybody would kill to have, but I could double that and fill every single one of my classes.
Wow.
So capacity is our biggest
How
challenge.
big is your building now?
10,000 square feet.
Okay, and you're busting out the seams.
We are done. Yeah.
Wow.
We are done.
So thinking about that, so you're focused now on just how do you deal with your growth?
And manage the growth. I started the Institute literally March 1st of 2016. We moved into this building and did a complete gutting of an engineering building that Kent purchased for us, and completely gutted it and turned it into what we have today. And people come, and it's an amazing facility. It's not your traditional school, which is what we refuse to call ourselves. And you walk in, and I am at capacity in every sense of the word. And we really haven't done that much marketing, which is the amazing part. I genuinely believe if you're good at what you do in dental education or any education, the public speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And
Well, you said you don't refer yourself as a school.
no,
You're like
we
a
really
non-school.
don't. We really see ourselves as a institute of higher learning is really what we are.
The undental school.
The non-dental school, yeah. So we want to take it and kick it up a notch, and that's what we've done.
can we do as a community to help you, help the nonprofit side, or obviously help your for-profit side? I mean, because it sounds like you're feeling such a need. I think it makes me want to get the word out. What do we need to do?
Yeah. Well, I think on the nonprofit side, that's essential, because I think the nonprofit has and will always continue to be the feeder into the Institute. If people need the education, they know that we have it, and it's right there. So I think the Institute generates a lot of its opportunities and provides opportunities through the work that we do through the nonprofit. And so from the community standpoint, if there is someone that you know that has struggled to get to the next level within dentistry, there are so many people who think they know the answers, but really don't know the answers. And what we try and do is we put them on the right path to say, this is what you should be doing, or this is what you shouldn't be doing. And, having served on the dental board, I understand the regulations and the statutes that can help somebody get from entry level to licensure to advanced licensure. That's a game that I understand. If I can sit down and talk with somebody, even right out of high school, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? At that point, career education, career planning, dentistry, every one of us benefits from. There's not a single person that I talk to, whether they're 5 or 55, that hasn't experienced the dentist, okay? If we can get them on the nonprofit side to show any interest at all in doing something within dentistry, then there's the Institute. They can sit right there, take whatever classes they want to take, and if they're already educated, like these individuals that are spouses of vets who have a tremendous dental education through the military, we now need to get them licensed in California. What are we going to do? How are we going to do that?
Yes. Donna, Drury-Klein, we're talking about veterans, and obviously it's going to help for the spouse of a veteran. Here we are on Veterans Day weekend. Thank you for sharing your story. Appreciate what you do. You're serving the entire community with what you do. Thank you. She's the founder, COO of the Fade Institute. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
You bet. If you like our entrepreneurial stories, if you like the messages that we bring that inspire, if you want a little more Mark Haney, not everybody does, but if you do, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to be part of our community, engage, comment, share. I want to get to know you better. You want to get to know me better. Follow me on all our social media platforms at The Mark Haney. I look forward to knowing you better, and let's get to know each other better so we can help build these businesses that we love.